Good morning, everyone. I'm out here with George Hawkins, owner of the Diamond H Ranch. It's sitting here on the McCullough-San Saba County line. We're going to take you for a tour of the ranch. George, tell us a little bit about your ranch before we start.
Well, it's a little over 1,000 acres. It's high fenced all the way around. The fences are maintained, clean. You can get around all the fence lines. We have 4 wells on here. 3 of them are windmill wells and one of them submersible pump. We have a 40 by 60 barn with concrete floor. This is the ranch house up here on top of the hill, of course. We have 9 different stock tanks. 6 of them have never gone dry, even through the drought periods. There's plenty of water here, good drinking water. We have.
You also got that spring over here.
We have a spring that's down on a creek bottom down there that's always been there, always is. We have a creek down here that flows from January to May every year. Well, once the trees go dormant, that creek shows up.
Well, George, let's take them around the front of the house and show them the view off there. Then we get on that Polaris and show them the place.
Let's do it. We're on the west side of the house now, looking down towards the front entrance. The lodge is kind of located up here on a hill that's pretty central to the property. Right now we're viewing the barn down there. We have a windmill that feeds I guess it's about a 40-foot diameter by about 6-foot high cistern that feeds 2 different water troughs down there. Front gate, of course, is just right off about where that windmill is. At T, I told you we put the high fence up in 1996 and started a protein feed program with Texas Parks and Wildlife, contributing knowledge to that endeavor about 7 years ago. And some of these animals you're looking at in here, you can actually, we've got them dated, but all of these are from this place except for the couple mule deer sitting back there on the wall. We have a lot of the deer down there in the barn, or most of those are from here. And of course, there's horns at sheds that we picked up hanging out there on the fence.
But all these on the north wall here are off this ranch.
Yes, sir.
Hey, George, we're leaving the
lodge, heading to northeast. Southeast.
Man, there's some views off this place, folks, and live oak. Long live oak. It's a nice cool morning this morning.
Yeah, it's a pretty morning.
What all, you got black buck out here, you say?
A lot of black buck antelope. Of course, white-tailed deer, quail dove.
You know, one thing I've noticed after the drought we just went through, you have very little loss of trees. Our places, half the trees are dead.
We have a couple sections where there's some tree loss, but no, we came through that drought in real good shape, and you can see the ground cover. It's of course, we haven't run cattle in here since the high fence went up, like I said before, in '96, and we took cattle out in '97. There hadn't been any.
So you got a wildlife exemption on it?
We've got a wildlife exemption. We work with Texas Parks and Wildlife. We have the MLD permit.
Now, what people who don't know, what is that basically? That means you can hunt.
MLD permit means you can hunt from October 1 till February 28 instead of the normal October 1 for bow hunting for the first month, and then your rifle is from November 1 to the first week of January, and season ends.
We're headed over to the southeast corner.
Yes.
And then we're going to go down the south fence line.
The south fence line. The south fence line is about 2 miles long.
It's a nice area here, George. We're still headed east. You can see the sun's up ahead of us. We're headed down to this, you call the Rock Tank.
Yeah, we call it the Rock Tank. You'll see why pretty soon, but it's a pretty tank. Holds real good water.
It's a game. Fish
like
in
I told you,
or?
oh yeah, there's bass in probably 4 of these tanks. Some pretty good sized bass.
Okay, George, where we at? This is the Rock Tank, but where we at on the ranch, kind of?
Well, we're kind of in the, this would be the northeast corner of that U.
Okay, now this to our right is a field they all cleared, and
Yeah, it's cleared, and we planted. We'll put weed out there sometimes.
okay, George, we're now traveling along this be your east fence,
Yes.
headed down to the southeast corner.
Yeah.
Okay, now we turn the corner and we're headed west down the south fence line.
Headed west down the south fence line. This is about a 2-mile fence here. One other thing I might mention is the black buck antelope in here are world-class black buck antelope. They all make, of course, Boone and Crockett doesn't qualify a black buck because it's not a native North American animal, but Safari Club classifies them, and we'll have 7-inch spreads on, or points on those.
70.
70 to 75.
Wow.
We think we might have a couple 80s out here, and 80s would be world records.
Okay, George, I noticed there's a double fence here. You got a high fence inside your regular fence.
Yeah, when we put up the high fence, nobody wanted to participate in the cost of it, so we left the original low fence as a barrier and put up the high fence ourselves. So we maintain that. As you can tell, it's clean, and all the roads are clear. You can travel them with the truck if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I've noticed they don't look like you have any small neighbors. It's all big ranches around you.
Yes, it's all large ranches.
Well, folks, we're climbing. We're just going to get higher and higher. We're going to show you some unbelievable views in a minute. Hang on. Yeah. We're climbing and climbing. We're going to show you some views here in just a second. We go up top of this hill. It's pretty spectacular, so hang on. Okay, George, we're on the south fence line, but we're looking back north.
Well, right now you're looking west and swinging to the northwest, but yeah, we're about the middle of the south fence line on one of the high hills. We're at a spot here where we're going to turn off and go down to that spring.
Here we are. Tell us about this.
We're down here in a permanent spring. That spring is about 8 feet deep out there in the center. It never goes dry. It's always there.
Here's a picture postcard shot right here, folks. It's right over in the middle of the ranch, and it's one of the unique things about this ranch you're going to see as we go. Well, we're going to leave here and we're going to head on. It's just going to keep on getting better. Hang on, here we go. Okay, George, basically we're on the hill right up above the southwest corner of the ranch down by the county road, right?
Right.
And I'm swinging around. I'm looking west here, I'm assuming.
Looking west.
Coming back around the north.
You'll swing to the north and you'll see the barn way out there pretty soon.
And those hills way over that's got to be Brown County over there.
Yes, that's Brown County.
Now that's a long way. We're talking, what, 30 miles?
Yeah.
Long way if you had to walk.
You can actually see Brownwood's lights at night from a couple of these hills. You can see the city lights.
Wow. All right. Well, we got more to go, y'all. Hang on. We're heading back down toward the barn and back over to the north side of the ranch. And this is one of the 3,000-pound buck feeders. There's four of them.
They're free feed.
A nice draw. I can see a little water right up there in this.
Yeah, there's water all along this draw. You get a rain, there's different puddles in there. This feeds a tank that's down here about the middle of the middle of the west fence line up by the county road that holds a lot of water, has good fish in it.
Okay, George, this is another one of the tanks.
Yeah, this is a real good tank here. You can tell by the size of it.
Okay, George, we're back kind of at the entrance, and this is your barn and a little area for all your equipment. And you got a well over there, correct?
Yeah, there's a well right up on top of the hill that's fed by a windmill. It's a real good well. That's the one with the cistern. You can see the barn has fully concrete floor, shed over it on the outside here.
Concrete floor, electricity. Little shop to work on your equipment, service it.
Yeah, Rick, we're out here just southwest of the lodge. This tank here is a real good fishing tank. There's been 6 and 7 pound bass caught out of it. We have a windmill that has a 2-year-old head on it. We replaced that head 2 years ago. It kind of feeds it, but this tank has never gone dry. This is that 1.5 inch water line that comes from up at the lodge, about 3/8 of a mile up the hill there, that if we wanted to, we could actually feed water from the submersible well into this tank. Yeah, we're a little northeast of the house now. We have a ledge over here by these submersible pumps right up here, the well house. And right out here on our left is quite a view. Yes, if you see that deer blind sitting out there on that field, you go those trees behind it to the next field that's back there. It's probably from there to the fence line. It's probably another. That would be the north fence line. It's probably another 500 yards or 600 yards past that blind right there. In good years where we're getting plenty of rain, this tank is 24 feet deep. You can see right now it's probably about 8 to 12 feet, but it's about an 1.5 acre tank when it's full. This is the third window. It's shallow. That window is only about 30-40 feet deep, but the water's only about 5 foot below the base of it. It pumps. It's a 1-inch line running into a tank that's over here, and it keeps that tank plumb full all year long. It doesn't take any rain. That tank just stays full. It's a good little stock tank. Wildlife use it, of course. We're coming up on another pasture area that we plant food in for wildlife. Oh, deer. They're healthy.
Well, George, I tell you what, we looked at this place last week and we came back today, and it is much prettier the second time, which is a good sign.
Well, I'm glad you like it. We've enjoyed this place a lot. You got to see probably, I don't know, maybe 60-70% of the place today. We have a lot of land you still didn't see, but at least you'll get a pretty good idea of what it's like.
You've got good roads, and you can drive nearly every perimeter fence on the place.
You can drive every fence.
And I guess and it feels like 3,000 acres. And it may be if you flattened it out. Don't tell me how many. I've never seen a place with so many draws and hills.
Yeah, if you flattened it out, you might have 3,000. I always tell people that, it's 1,055 acres, but it seems to hunt like 2,000 acres. There's just so much cover out here.
Well, George, thank you very much. We've enjoyed the tour, and I tell you, if you like what you see, give us a call, so we'll show it to you anytime. You give us a call, we'll be here.